They got Roy watching 37-year-old Grant Hill. Goes inside. Nice altering the shot inside by the size of knocked away by Richardson, who was working on Bayless. And Richardson picks up the personal foul. His second for the Phoenix Suns with 2:49 to play in the second quarter. A lot of adjustments in this series. Game 2, the Suns put Grant Hill on Andre Miller after Miller scored 31 points in Game 1. And then in Game 4, the Blazers start Jared Bayless at shooting guard. Rudy Fernandez was 6 of 17 in the first 3 games. The Suns get a big boost from the bench players. They scored 55 points in Game 5, hit threes 8 times. And tonight, Brandon Roy, Doug, starts for the Blazers after coming off the bench the first 2 games back from knee surgery.
Well, don't look at the points. I mean, he actually is their leading rebounder with 4, and he's their leading assist man with 3. And as Alvin Gentry told us before the game, we're not going to let this guy get started. And the Suns have targeted him, and they've targeted LaMarcus Aldridge as Bayless misses the free throw. And they're going to trap those guys, get the ball out of their hands, and force those other guys on the team to try to make shots. That's why I said before, Webster, Fernandez, Bayless off the bench, these guys become critical to be able to score and make the Phoenix Suns pay the price for all those double teams and traps they're putting on their 2-star players.
Suns have led by as many as 11. The Blazers have led by as many as 2. Nash and Bayless. Aldridge and Stoudemire. Here comes Nash. Trying to give to Amundsen. Another turnover for Steve. He's got 7. Bayless. Aldridge. Quick double with Nash and Amundsen. Amundsen got turned around. That's a foul. It's going to be on the Phoenix Suns, and Lou Amundsen is going to pick it up. He picks up his second personal. Take a look at Alvin Gentry, who said, you know, I didn't use the bench enough early in the series. He's gone to the bench. He touched on this a little bit early in our game. As we've got a 47-38 Phoenix lead right here, we're going to take you to our TNT Arena in Atlanta, and here's Ernie Johnson.
Thanks, Kev. Coming up on the T-Mobile Halftime Report, a first-half breakdown from Kenny and Charles. We'll have highlights of the Mavs and Spurs Game 6. San Antonio moves on. And when playoff games end, go to NBA.com for live streaming coverage of the post-game press conferences. Now back to Portland. Kevin and Doug.
EJ, thank you. Dallas made that exciting in that San Antonio game.
They sure did. And Dirk Nowitzki was terrific in that whole series. That guy played his heart out. And how about Roddy Beaubois coming off that bench tonight, the lift he gave to get them back in the game. But to me, the difference maker in that entire series wasn't their 3 stars, but it was George Hill. 29 in the game we were there, the game 4 to give him a 3-1 lead. And then tonight he had 2 huge threes, finished with 21 to close out that series. So congratulations to Greg Popovich and the Spurs.
Aldridge has 10, first player in double figures for the Portland Trail Blazers. Inside, driving with Stoudemire. Saved by Aldridge, and out of bounds it goes. So the Phoenix Suns will be inbounded. He's been doubled so much, Doug. He says that's why his numbers have not been all that good. With Roy out, that was a problem. With Roy back in there, take some of that double team sometimes away.
Well, they're still going to double team him. That's why those other guys have to. They're going to, as soon as that ball is in there, they're going to trap him. Every time Aldridge catches the ball, he's going to see 2 guys.
Hill lasers it inside to Stoudemire, knocked away by Aldridge. Here comes Bayless, 1-on-3. Hill with a great defensive play. Nash comes racing the other way. On a 4-on-3, it's Richardson for 3. Kaboom! Richardson knocks down another from downtown. He's got 19, a game high.
See, Bayless there had no place to go. Kevin, he was like 1-on-2, 1-on-3. Grant Hill gets the block, and where do you see the 3 in transition once again? And that's where Bayless has got to be able to pull that ball back and make sure his team gets a good shot.
Webster with the long 2, Amundsen defending, and here comes Grant Hill. 4 of 4 3-point shooting by Richardson. Flying the other way is Grant Hill. With the left hand, he goes right into the backpedaling Webster, and he gives the Phoenix Suns their biggest lead tonight of 12.
It's basically 1-on-3, and there is Grant Hill, who in his prime was one of the best defensive players in the NBA, and he's the best defensive player on this team. And then he comes the other way with a strong finish, and sort of an ominous sign here now for the Portland Trail Blazers, Kevin. But the team that has been leading at halftime has won every game in this series, and right now, if Grant Hill makes this shot, they're going to be looking at a 13-point deficit here with 1:13 to go in the half.
Collins will come back in for Stoudemire, playing with a couple of fouls. Webster picked up his first foul. Here is Grant Hill. Doug, 5 times he's had ankle surgery. You coached him in Detroit. They've rebuilt his heel. We talked about his age a couple times because it's amazing. In his late 30s, the way he continues to defend, he's the best Phoenix defender they've got.
No question. He took such good care of himself, and probably those 5-6 years he missed probably saved some wear and tear on those legs. Phoenix now on a 6-0 run trying to close out halftime.
Dudley is back in. He's watching Roy. Amundsen is in there. Nash remains. Collins is in the contest. Webster. Camby. And Amundsen. That's a Phoenix foul inside the game. So you mentioned the team that has been leading at halftime, Doug, has won. We've not been really a first quarter series. It has been more of a who's leading at half, as you talked about, as Amundsen picks up his third. And log on to NBA.com now for the most extensive playoff coverage and in-depth highlights of tonight's Suns-Blazers matchup, as well as up-to-date scores, stats, and sketch from the playoffs. On NBA.com, Kevin Harlan, Doug Collins, Craig Sager. Phoenix right now, Doug, their biggest lead of 13.
Well, you think about the 3 games that the Suns won. In Game 2, they led by 29, won by 29. In Game 3, they led by 31 and won by 19. And then in Game 5, they led by 27 and won by 19. So in their 3 wins, in every one of those games, they'd led by at least 27 points. So they have really dominated the 3 wins, whereas Portland has won 2 games very close, one by 9 and the other one by 5, when they were able to execute in the 4th quarter and find a way to win. But they're going to have to find a way here to calm themselves down offensively at halftime, have much better efficiency at halftime, and to get their defense back, because the Suns, when they're in the open quarter, really killing them with that 3-point shot.
Aldridge now with 11, 9 in the quarter. No fouls to give either way. Final half minute of the 2nd quarter. A quick double on Dudley. Rotating defense of Aldridge on Nash with the mismatch. Dudley picked up by Roy. 1 to shoot. Just finishing up your point, the Blazers have lost 3 games by a total of 67 points. Doug, these have been some of the worst season-long defeats that the Blazers have suffered in this series.
Well, it's interesting. When you talk to Alvin Gentry, he said, if we play at their pace, we feel like they're one of the best defensive teams in the league. If we push the pace, we can take advantage of what we do. And that's what they've done. In the 3 wins, they've got out and they've run. They've scored anywhere from 107 to whatever the high mark was 107 they had in game 5. They had 108 in Game 3, and they had 119 in Game 2. So, I mean, when they've been able to get out of the game, Portland just does not have enough firepower, especially with Brandon Roy being hurt. I mean, this is a guy who averages about 22 a game. Last year in the playoffs, in the 6 games against the Rockets, he averaged almost 27 a game. You've really taken that away. All he can do now is get guys involved. He can rebound. He can pass the ball out of double teams. You know, pace of the game. That's why Nate talked to us about it before the game, and so did Alvin. And tonight, here the Suns are at 53. They're on pace here for probably about 107 to 110 points.
Doug Roy has gone 1 of 3. In 17 minutes, he's got 3 points. You thought before the game he would try to do more. Do you think he's been assertive enough? Do you think he can do more physically? What's your read on Roy through 1 half of basketball?
That the Sun said, we're not going to let you hurt us. And every time he sees the ball, he's got 2 guys on him. So they're not going to let him isolate. He's only got 3 shots at the basket, and he's played 17 minutes.
Fernandez is in, joining Roy. Bayless has it right there. Miller is on the bench. There's about 3 seconds. Game clock and shot clock. The difference winding down the first half. Here is Roy, picked up by the defensive-minded Dudley. Hill, Earl Clark has taken the floor, as is Dragic and Barbosa out there for the Phoenix Suns. Bayless slashing inside.
Oh!
Knocked away by Hill. Swats it away. Here comes Clark. Seconds remain. Barbosa trying to beat the clock and cannot get it to go. What a block by Hill.
Oh, my. Grant Hill. Flashback. My goodness gracious. They're going to cock this back and dunk it. And Grant Hill with his left hand. That is a spectacular defensive play.
The Suns are plus 12 points. The defense of Hill, and not just on one guy, he has been all over the field, the ubiquitous defender for the Phoenix Suns. What about the shooting of Jason Richardson? 6 of 9, all kinds of threes. He's got 19 standing by with our Craig Sager.
Well, Jason, you had 42 points in Game 3 here in Portland tonight. Again, the hot hand. What's been the key so far to the tempo you guys are setting, the fact you're making these shots?
Well, we're doing a great job of forcing the tempo, getting up in the fast break, and we're doing a great job on the defensive end, getting stops.
You had that great start, but at one point it looked like you were going to come out with a bad ankle. Next thing you know, we saw you soaring through the air for a great dunk. Does that make the ankle feel better?
Yeah, it feels all right. You know, it's the playoffs. I'm going to play through the pain. We'll go in there and get a little bit of work on it from, you know, some of the best trainers in the NBA and get ready for the second half.
Brandon Roy only has one shot that he made, and that was a desperation three. What are you doing to him defensively?
We just crowding him. We're trying to get the ball in his hand. We're doing a great job. When he come off pick and rolls, trapping them, limiting them to touches.
Well, I think Slack will get treatment on that ankle. We'll be back with the T-Mobile halftime report. EJ, Kenny, and Charles in our studios in Atlanta.